January 6th meeting of the Oak Ridge Town Council to order. First item is invocation. Please rise and stand. We have the distinct pleasure of having Dee Hall give the invocation. And as you're going through the invocation, please keep David Schoenfeld and her family in mind. David Schoenfeld, her husband, passed away earlier this week, and we just had the service today, so please keep her in mind.
Precious Lord Jesus, we ask for your presence to permeate these chamber walls. Fill here with your love, grace, peace, and calming presence. We ask that you would speak with your still small voice and lead each council member in the ways of righteousness. Help them keep their eyes on you, the author and finisher of our faith, as they see to the business of this town. May they conduct the business of our town with respect for you, for each other, and with respect for the staff and citizens. We know that you have a plan for Oak Ridge, and according to your word, it is a good plan to prosper us. We know that true prosperity isn't about wealth. It's about the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Fill us all with those things so we can be strengthened to do your work. Bless this council and staff that they may be a blessing to others. May they be strong yet kind, true, faithful, and honest leaders of our town, and we will be faithful to give you all the glory. In the mighty and powerful name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance. Okay, the next item is to approve the agenda. One item that will be removed is our closed session. Our lawyer is a little bit under the weather. There won't be a change to the finance officer report because the town manager will give that, but our finance officer won't be here either. Is there a motion to approve the agenda with the...
Mayor, may I ask that you also remove under approval minutes, the January 7th special meeting? Those minutes are not available yet.
Okay. With that in mind, would someone make a motion with those two changes?
So moved with the changes mentioned.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Is the resolution that you're going to have us sign is going to be on the finance officer report, correct? All right, so we don't have any resolution proclamation announcements. We do have the crime statistics from the Guilford County Sheriff's Office in the back. Is that correct? Okay, and do we have a report from the Oak Ridge Fire Department? Yes, sir. Someone raised their hand in the back. Yep, step right up.
Good evening, everyone. So in the month of January, we ran 75 calls. Most of them were medical, of course, which ranged from cardiac arrest or it could be a lift assist. Our second most was just alarms such as CO alarms, smoke alarms, and there were 3 structure fires. In January, we had 800 hours of training, which is pretty good. And I'd like to leave you all with some advice, which is if you use natural gas, make sure that your carbon monoxide detectors are working. And if it's going off, don't be afraid to call us. It could be false alarm, but it's better that we come out and check it. And that's pretty much it.
And to get credit, why don't you tell us who you are?
I'm John Nunes from Oak Ridge Fire.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Here.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Now we have next is the public comment section. This is a period of 3 minutes where you can come up and speak about pretty much just about anything. All we ask you to do is you give your name and address. If you're here on the same topic, please try not to repeat yourself. And the floor is yours. Raise your hand to be recognized. Yes, ma'am. Yes, you. Just state your name and address, and the floor is yours for 3 minutes.
And council members, my name is Joanne Morris. My husband and I live at 6727 Brookbank Road. We've lived there since 1995. Our property borders the Ashford development currently under construction. We were shown plans for the development by the town and assured that there would be a 30-foot tree preservation area between our property and Ashford. I'm here this evening to express my concern that the tree preservation area is not being honored. I do have an illustration, if I could pass that out to you, that might help clarify. Would that be,
I think it'd be okay.
yes?
Yes, just do it quickly so you keep your 3 minutes.
We'll pass them out.
We'll pass them out.
Okay, thank you.
Whoops.
Sometime in 2023 or early 2024, we saw another plan for the Ashford development. And this showed a change to the tree preservation area on Lot 16 from 30 feet to 20 feet. And this was the only lot that was changed. In November of 2024, Lot 16 sold to a builder, and a tree company came to remove the additional trees. The tree preservation area was not marked, and the operator said that he was unaware of any restricted area. If it had not been for my husband and showing him where the tree preservation line should be, there have been maybe more trees removed right up to our property line. The town of Oak Ridge has adopted a tree preservation ordinance which calls for the replacement of any trees to comply with the tree coverage standards. And we are requesting that the town require the developer of Ashford subdivision to replant the necessary trees in order to comply with that ordinance. The last page on the handout shows a proposed landscape plan that we feel might be amenable to the builder and any of his potential home buyers, as well as to us, and that this would improve the aesthetics and the privacy for all of us.
Thank you. What I would encourage you to do is Sean Taylor, right behind, over there, he's our planning director. Get together with him, and he can investigate whether or not there is something the town can do.
Okay, thank
Right.
you.
Thank you. Yes, Ron?
My name is Ron Ray. I live on Stafford Mill Road. And as you all know, Transco is proposing additional pipelines through our town that will be installed parallel to the existing 60-year-old lines on the southern side of the town. This project is known as SSEP, a multi-state, high-pressure methane gas project. It includes 56 miles of 42-inch high-pressure pipeline, of which 28 miles will run through 4 counties in North Carolina, including Oak Ridge. We have significant safety concerns with these pipelines running through our community. These pipelines can potentially leak toxic and explosive materials into the ground, groundwater, and the air we breathe. There is also the possibility of an explosion in the immediate pipeline area, as well as the blast zones in areas near the pipeline. These pipelines run just a few hundred yards from many of the town's core activity centers. Just to name a few: Oak Ridge Elementary School, Oak Ridge Military Academy, Oak Ridge First Baptist Church, Oak Ridge St. James AME Church, Oak Ridge Methodist Church, and the businesses at the corner of Highway 150 and 68. There are no benefits to Oak Ridge for the SSEP pipeline through Oak Ridge. Given the risks posed by the presence of the pipelines, Oak Ridge will forever be a less desirable community to live and work in. The pipeline will only provide benefits to Transco. we in opposition of the pipeline realize that the Oak Ridge Town Council have no jurisdiction or authority over the pipeline. As you are the leaders and voices of the community, we respectfully ask you to oppose the project due to the safety and health concerns we have for the citizens of Oak Ridge and the surrounding areas. We are asking the Oak Ridge Town Council to vote and pass a resolution opposing the SSEP project through our town.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? I saw the hand go up there first, I think. My peripheral vision sometimes isn't great, so if somebody beats you to the hand raise, just correct me, I'll adjust.
Sure. Good afternoon. My name is Chris Annunziato. I live at 8231 Stafford Mill Road. Been a resident of Oak Ridge for 10 years, going on 11. Just wanted to voice my agreement with Mr. Ray and his comments and oppose the pipeline going through Oak Ridge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Over this way, I think I saw a hand go up pretty quick.
My name's Jim Barbary. I'm at 7903 Quiet Place in Oak Ridge, and this is your ABC report. I was told to move it to this end.
Okay.
I'm not on the agenda later.
Thank you.
So the holiday liquor sales were good. Everybody got their little, commemorative glasses of the season and all. There is concern that wholesale prices could increase if tariffs are imposed with Canada and Mexico. And if this happens, that would reduce our margins because the state sets the prices and probably won't respond by raising them. And then the most important part of all is we received a check for $99,328 for this quarter. So any questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, and everybody keep drinking.
Thanks, Tim.
Mr. Yarborough.
Bob Yarborough, I live Lockland Drive in Stonehenge subdivision, just a few hundred feet from where the pipeline would be. I'm gonna make two quick comments. My concern is this: we read almost every day, one town or another, where we've got broken water mains because of old pipes. I wonder how much construction those pipes up there can stand. They're in there digging, the vibrations and everything. They're 75 years old. Are they gonna break? That's my main concern about the whole project. I'm thankful that I'm in a neighborhood that does have natural gas, and one of the reasons I moved in that neighborhood. I'm gonna switch gears completely right now. I'm the blood drive coordinator at Oak Ridge Methodist Church. We have a blood drive coming up on Monday. I'd like to encourage everybody who's healthy enough to do so to go on the Red Cross website, make an appointment, come see us between 1:30 and 6:30. We have a goal of 68 units of blood. As of when I checked earlier today, only had 58 appointments confirmed. So we got room for you. Even if you can't make an appointment, come by, we'll get you in and out quickly. Everybody needs blood.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to maybe stop for just a second. I see we have a representative from the Sheriff's Department here. If you like, could you come up and maybe give us a crime report?
Thank you guys for the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm Deputy Langford with the Guilford County Sheriff's Office. I'm the one who patrols 14 Zone, which would be Summerfield, Oak Ridge, and Stokesdale. I have a brief crime report here for you guys just to give you an update on what's going on here in the month of January. So far here in the month of January, the Sheriff's Office has responded to 123 total calls for service in Oak Ridge town limits. That's resulted in 11 total case reports. At that point, some of the notable calls of service that we've had here are on 1/6, a 39-year-old male was arrested at the State Employee Employees Credit Union at 2047 Oak Ridge Road after being caught in the act of impersonating an account holder and attempting to fraudulently withdraw money from an account. He was charged with felony forgery of endorsement, felony identity theft, felony attempt to obtain property by false pretense, misdemeanor possession of fraudulent ID, misdemeanor resist, delay, and obstruct a law enforcement officer, and driving while license revoked. On 1/7, a 22-year-old female and former employee of Northwest Animal Hospital at 1694 NC 68 North was charged with felony larceny by employee related to theft from the business. There were no other incidents or crime trends in the town for the month targeting any general public. That would be a total report here for the town of Oak Ridge here for this month of January.
Excellent. Thank you so much for all you do for us.
Yes, sir. Thank you so
you.
much. Appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
being here.
Thank you. And now we'll turn back to public comment. I see a hand over this way. I think it went up just a little bit faster. Terry? And you guys are winning by microseconds, so.
I might go over it because I want to thank the Sheriff's Department, too. They came, we had an injured deer in our yard, and my husband and I are not gun owners, and I didn't know what to do, and they came out and they euthanized the deer and had it taken away. So thank you, Sheriff's Department, for helping with that. My name is Terry Hammond. My address is 1815 Oak Ridge Road, where I've lived since 1981. I'm here to express my opposition to the Williams Transco project. I live near the current pipeline right-of-way, though not adjacent to it, but I drive daily through the pipeline on highways 150 and 68, Willard and Beeson roads. I fear the negative impacts that this expanded pipeline could have on our family safety, along with that of friends and neighbors, as well as people outside of Oak Ridge who use the town's resources, such as schools, businesses, and the town park. I'm especially worried about the town's water and the safety of our wells. Construction that crosses streams often results in polluted water. Blasting can damage and contaminate wells, which are the primary source of water for our town's residents until we get our water tower. The origin of the Mighty Haw River is here in Oak Ridge, along with Beaver Creek and Reedy Fork, which both feed into Greensboro's water supply. I lived without running water for 9 months, so I would like to say that this is something, that experience taught me, don't mess around with water. It's an incredibly valuable resource that we need to protect and not take for granted. When the original pipeline right-of-way was constructed in the 1950s, Oak Ridge was unincorporated, its population was smaller, and most of it was rural farmland. Today, it's widely developed. There are thousands of homes, schools, businesses, churches in the blast radius. I worry because the Williams Company doesn't have a very good safety track record. I just happened to mention to my sister today, who lives in Spartanburg, South Carolina, that I was going to be speaking at the county commissioners meeting and here tonight. Now, oh, what about? And I mentioned Williams Pipeline, and she said, oh, I know about them, bad news. So, you know, it's like, it isn't just here. There are many reports. If people do their homework, we can get the word out. While the impact on human lives is always the paramount concern, as the owner of a Guilford County historic landmark property, and also as a long-serving member of the Guilford County Historic Preservation Commission, I'm also concerned about the impact the project could have on numerous National Register properties that are located in the vicinity of the pipeline right-of-way: the Old Mill of Guilford, the Charles Benbow House, Jesse Benbow House, Ensley Morgan House. Indeed, the entire town core of Oak Ridge is a historic district, and the Oak Ridge Military Academy as well. The risks to our community are wide-ranging and extensive, and there's little to no direct benefit for our residents. I urge you, council members, to please pass a resolution against the Transco proposed project. Thank you.
Saw some hands over here. I think whichever one wants to go first.
Hi, my name is Mandy Bird. I live in Stonehenge at 2711 Curryton Court. My husband and I moved to Oak Ridge from Greensboro about 3.5 years ago, and we've really been enjoying the quiet and the friendly neighbors and all that. I am also opposed to the pipeline. We have 3 daughters, and I'm concerned, as others have said, about drinking water. And in particular, I read that they are not going to do a full environmental impact study. They're going to do some sort of abbreviated assessment, and I don't see the upside to that. When it comes to safety, I think Oak Ridge and the families and businesses here deserve that they do whatever they can, if this does go through, to make sure it's as safe as possible. I don't see why they would rush it unless they're concerned about making money. So I hope that there will be a way to make sure that if this does go through, which I hope it does not, that we hold them to doing a full environmental impact study. Thank you.
Yes.
Hello, my name is Robin Johnson, and I am located on Beeson Road with my husband and young son. Really wanted to thank the council for giving us the opportunity to share our concerns regarding the Transco proposed pipeline. Initially, I was not familiar with the details of the proposed project. I wasn't terribly familiar with the pipeline that currently runs through our town, through the heart of our town. So I did a little digging myself, really wanted to understand both perspectives, really wanted to highlight, understand what the project meant to the company, what it would mean to our community, and also how it really aligns with the strategic plan that this council has approved. And how does it align with the town vision that has been outlined for our space? To highlight a few things from an investment perspective, Transco clearly noted in their initial pre-filing that the benefits of this project will not be realized by those impacted. Specifically, the impacts and the risk to the communities and the property owners will be just that. They will be impacts bared by our community. Additionally, the cost of the project is going to be passed back to that consumer. Transco is going to recoup their investment. And any economic benefit from this expansion is going to be seen outside of our area, outside of all the counties, all the communities that are impacted. When I look at and review the town's strategic plan and the vision statement for this town, the town puts a high priority on it being a safe and livable community that is planning for our future and preserving our historical resources. This plan expansion, proposed expansion, is in direct conflict with numerous goals within that strategic plan. There was mention of the well water-based community that we are, and that we value the water in our area, and we're taking steps to expand the availability of water in the area, but we have currently homes in the blast zone, in the connected area, that would be at risk for contamination if an additional pipe is laid in that same area. Placement of those pipes next to those existing pipes means Transco will be digging approximately a 50-plus foot ditch along those pipes, and those pipes have been there, as noted, for 70 to 75 years. Our landowners can't put a fence on that property, but we're gonna look forward to a 60-foot ditch being placed next to those pipes that are in place, and that really puts our town at risk. Also, when you look at the safety record of the Williams Company, the proposed project would also impact the historical resources that we have also prioritized in that strategic plan. And I encourage the council to oppose the proposed extension. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? Over here? Yes, sir.
Hi. We get it.
My name is Brenda Janey. My husband Dwayne and I live at 5811 Billett Road in Oak Ridge. I'm going to give you pictures.
Okay.
Okay.
These pictures are of a huge pipeline explosion in Appomattox, Virginia.
tell you that this particular explosion took place in 2008.
You might want to wait until you're back to the
Yeah,
microphone.
because that way, you can, no one can hear you online if you're speaking up here.
These pictures are of the explosion that took place in Appomattox, Virginia in September of 2008. I'm aware of the fact that that was 17 years ago, and many people will say that the safety technology has improved. I've got a stack of papers that I can show you the incidences both before and after. I picked Appomattox due to the fact that it has the closest correlation to what we have here in Oak Ridge. The first picture that you see is a huge, like, burned-out pit. That's the crater that occurred after the explosion. It is 20 feet deep. It is 2,200 feet long. That would take you walking to the other side of Oak Ridge Elementary School. The second picture shows you the house that's on the very edge of that crater. That was a beautiful brick house, and you can see it was incinerated. The third picture, that fire plume is a grab I took off of the news video. That helicopter was 3/4 of a mile away and could not get closer due to the heat. They could see the fireball 30 miles away. It was 300 feet in the air. It took them hours to shut it down, even though they shut the gas down in 15 minutes. The fire department, people have been concerned about our resources here. The fire department could not get within a half a mile, okay? This took place at 7:47 on a Sunday morning. I heard another comment about what would happen, what causes them to rupture. There was no outside forces that caused these pipes to rupture. There are two pipes in this incident, two pipes. They were 30 inches wide. They were also 50 years old. They ruptured because they were old and corroded. That was it. So now you've got them wanting to come in and dig up next to the pipelines and displace the three existing 70, 75-year-old pipelines that are not 30 inches, they're 42 inches wide. This was two pipelines, we have three. There's nothing we can do about the three pipelines that exist. But to allow them to disrupt the three, to put in a fourth, the last piece of paper that you see, that's what I call the incineration zone. Ann is just outside of it. Mike Stone is outside of it. But your houses are still going to be impacted because when this happened, the houses that you don't see in this picture, over 100 houses were impacted and people were having to be relocated. So that incineration zone, if there is a rupture anywhere on that pipeline, all those houses on Billet and Billet Place and Tarleton and Autumn Gate. So we're asking, please stand with us and sign a resolution and let Williams Transco know we don't need this.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? I see hands over here in the back. Yes. Get you. Even if I get you out a little bit out of order, everyone will have a chance.
Good evening. I'm Emily Sutton. I am the Haw River Keeper and Executive Director at Haw River Assembly. We work to protect water quality in the entire Haw River watershed and Jordan Lake, which Oak Ridge is a part of, and we believe everyone has the right to fishable, swimmable, drinkable water. I'm here tonight to ask that you consider passing a resolution to oppose the Southeastern Supply Enhancement Project and protect the communities you serve in Oak Ridge. My work in water quality has given me a crash course in supporting communities with contaminated drinking water. These projects threaten the safety of groundwater, which once contaminated is nearly impossible to mitigate. These communities have private wells, and those wells are not protected under the Safe Drinking Water Act. That means they are responsible themselves for testing and treating their own wells and would be responsible for mitigating them if they are in fact contaminated. The construction process of these pipelines requires coatings and lubricants that contain proprietary chemicals. I spend much of my time working on industrial contaminants such as PFAS and 1,4-dioxane, and without knowing what these coatings contain, I'm increasingly concerned about the risks of groundwater contamination for these communities. Additionally, the pipes are often installed using blasting techniques, and the streams are crossed by damming and diverting the streams or drilling under the water body. Both of these methods will destroy stream habitat and cause irreparable damage to these streams. Unfortunately, this is not my first time coming before commissioners to make a request like this. Several years ago, we fought another pipeline route, the Mountain Valley Pipeline Southgate Extension through Alamance County. the Alamance County Commissioners passed a unanimous resolution to oppose the project as a commitment to the communities that they serve who are threatened with eminent domain and contaminated drinking water. That route is no longer going through Alamance County, in part because of the commitment those Alamance County Commissioners kept to protect their constituents. So I urge you to pass a resolution to oppose this project, and I'd be happy to be a resource for you and your staff as we navigate this new threat to our community. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm Diana Garrison. My husband and I, Mickey, just moved here 6 months ago. We live in the Oak Ridge Landing, so I don't have a prepared speech. I'm just talking from my heart. We moved there, and the pipeline is just right across the street from our house. And they said, nobody will build there, and we thought that would be great. But now that other lots are being built next to us, they're tearing down the certain trees, and they have the big thud, and it shakes our house. So I'm wondering if that does anything to across the street. I don't know, but I just hope and pray that you stand with us and make a resolution against the pipeline. I can hear the little children at the Methodist preschool out there playing every day. So I'm wondering about that situation. And I guess just that's all I have to say. I just hope you consider everything that's said tonight, and I thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Over this way, a little bit faster. Then you, and then you.
Everyone, my name is Claire Spear, and I come from Hillsborough, North Carolina. I'm here tonight as a community advocate from 7 Directions of Service, and I'm going to go a little higher level and speak just on the general lack of need about SSEP. Studies like the one by Synapse Energy Economics show that we already have enough energy infrastructure to get through 2030. 5 years is plenty of time to plan, build, and institute less harmful sources of energy. Natural gas is politically charged, volatile in price, and doesn't lead to more reliable energy infrastructure. Transco has pointed to the Elliott winter storm power outages of 2022, claiming that more natural gas infrastructure would have kept people's power on. The ironic truth of this claim is that it was the natural gas infrastructure itself that failed during the storm. The failures had nothing to do with lack of infrastructure or supply. During Elliott, 90% of lost power in the eastern U.S. was from failures in gas, coal, or oil generation, and 63% from failed methane gas power generation. Meanwhile, just 1% of lost power came from solar and 4% from wind. Those numbers speak for themselves. More gas wouldn't have mattered or helped. We also need to seriously consider the implications of the news that was released about DeepSeek, an AI system from China that uses a mere fraction of the energy that our AI systems do. Considering that much of this proposed gas would go to fuel data centers for AI, we need to think critically. If it's possible to run data centers on a fraction of the energy we're currently using, why are we pushing for more infrastructure instead of changing our systems to use less energy? According to a recent report by the Kleinman Institute for Energy Policy, DeepSeek has demolished the justification for urgent, massive expansion of natural gas. The report points out that the U.S. tech companies fed this AI frenzy by taking the approach that the way to scale up AI is to throw money at it, using even larger data sets, bigger models, and exponentially more energy. We now know that's not true or necessary. The report shows that DeepSeek's model outperforms current industry standards using perhaps as little as 2% of the chips, hardware, and energy. For pipeline and tech giants, scaling back means less of our money in their pockets. They're not going to take that path willingly. It's up to leaders like you to advocate for better choices for your community and to help hold these corporate giants accountable. As proposed, SSEP will lock in the region's customers to fossil fuel infrastructure for decades to come. This is a bad investment, not just for the climate, but for the economy. As we have all experienced with the volatility of gas and oil prices, an economy tied to fossil fuels is unpredictable and makes us vulnerable to supply chain disruptions and conflicts. As you have heard many of your constituents ask tonight, please, Oak Ridge Town Council, leverage your leadership by committing to a public stance of opposition and pass a resolution against SSEP. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I forget who I pointed to. Who's next? Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, over here.
Good evening. Thank you, everyone, for serving the town. It's a special place. I'm an Oak Ridge homeowner, and my day job is...
Your name and address, your name and address, please.
Patricia Annunziato, and I live on Stafford Mill Road part of the year. I'm technically a Florida resident, but my husband lives in Oak Ridge full-time. I'm also an attorney who specializes in aviation and jet fuel. And so I know an awful lot about the engineering that goes into jet fuel pipelines, jet fuel storage, that sort of thing. And I'm here to oppose, absolutely oppose, the pipeline going through Oak Ridge, even though I make my money on that end. It's not as safe as you think it is. It's not as safe as the companies will tell you. And I say this as a defense attorney, right? I represent the bad guy. Leaks happen. They don't always get reported. They should, but they do not. Leaks happen. There is a definite groundwater risk, more than the fuel companies and the engineering companies will tell you, I assure you. And so I encourage and implore you to please request a full environmental study before voting on this. And if, in the hopefully unlikely event you do decide to not oppose it, I invite you to have a cup of coffee with me so we can talk a little bit more, not in public. Thank you.
I think I saw another hand over this way, or am I right? Or back this way, yes.
My name's Greg Anderson. My wife Kim, we live on Wolf Ridge Court, 5697, and just kind of wanted to stand up and agree with everything that's been said tonight about the pipeline. We're certainly not in favor of it. The pipeline backs right up to our backyard, and another concern I have is the property damage that's going to happen when they come to build this pipeline. Williams has already been out in our area. We've actually caught them inside of our fence with a shovel getting ready to dig a hole in our backyard without even asking if they could come in or do anything like that. So I've got a lot of concern about the damage that can be done to our property. Obviously, the blast zone is a big concern, and I'm in agreement with all of the other concerns that have been brought up tonight. But I guess the other thing that kind of bothers me a lot is that we're being asked to assume all of the risk, but we're not going to get any of the profit of anything that's being done with this pipeline. So I do want to stand in opposition and ask that you do as has been asked tonight about a resolution against the pipeline.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
Hi, my name is Peter Molnar. I'm at 2802 Lachlan Drive in Stonehenge. I just wanted to, put my, my voice behind the opposition. I hope you guys pass a resolution to oppose this pipeline. I just want to give you a little bit of perspective here. The pipeline does go through my backyard. So my house is, we've been told the blast zone extends 1,100 feet, 1,100 feet from the pipeline. My house is probably about 200 feet from that pipeline area. My wells may be 150 feet from there, or 250 feet from there. So just to give you perspective how close a lot of these homes are from these pipelines. So again, I'd like to encourage you to pass a resolution.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, in the red came up just a little earlier.
Hello, I'm Deborah Cimbala from 6698 Currington Road in Stonehenge. And I'd just like to give you some very interesting statistics. And everyone here is talking about the blast zone, right? If a blast occurs, a resident has 30 seconds to do something, okay? 30 seconds. The entire blast zone can impact up to 3 miles. So that is a lot of Oak Ridge, okay? So I'm just saying this is what happens should a blast occur. And I'm asking that you all please pass a resolution to oppose this expansion of the pipeline, and so that we can have safety in our neighborhood.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
There was another hand in the back there.
Good evening. My name is Greg Tart, and my wife Allison and I live at 5702 and Wolfridge subdivision, and I'm a homegrown Raleigh, North Carolina guy, and we love living in Oak Ridge. I'm glad to know about this pipeline because I'm going to change subjects. We are against it, and thank y'all for hearing all this. I'm going back to something that I'm not familiar with that we lived through back in the fall. Guy burning for 2 months straight, and just me understanding, we had neighbors, and literally from 7 in the morning until the ends of, all day long, he was burning, burning, burning. So I don't know if that is, my studies have said that it's okay to burn, but at what point is that not okay? So I don't know if that's something that has been discussed, and that's just wanted to bring it up from the standpoint of in the fall, we're going to want to buy some of that ABC stuff and sit outside. And it was hazardous. It was terrible. So just wanted to bring that up. If that's something that we could talk about, I'd love to understand more about that.
That'd be another thing you can talk to with either Bill Bruce, our town manager, or Sean Taylor. They can help you out with our ordinances and whether or not we can address any of that.
Okay, very good. Thank you, guys.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Cameron Ligon. I live off of Sedgwick Way here in Oak Ridge, and I'm also a local business owner for 12 years now here right in the town. I own Destination Arts, which is a child's dance and performing arts studio, and I had no idea I was going to get up and speak tonight. This is kind of just not like my personality, but I feel like if I leave here tonight without saying something, I will regret it. So I am also in opposition to the pipeline, and I'm going to keep this short and sweet, but if nothing else, for the kids at Oak Ridge Elementary School. And like I said, I own a business that has over 400 families come through weekly, and we are right in the Common Shopping Center, which is right in the blast zone. And I teach dance, but really my job is to keep kids safe. And if I can't promise their parents anymore that I can keep them safe when they're there because of it coming through that area, then I don't know what my job is. So please vote in opposition of the pipeline. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, with that, I'll close the, one last.
Good evening. My name is Paul Partika. My address is 6402 Ashton Park Drive. I've been living here for a couple decades almost with my wife Minako and my 3 children. I live rather close to the existing pipeline, and at least in recent years, I've been running or jogging over it almost every day, as much as I can. I wanted to start with a little story from about 5 or 10 years ago. There's some sort of little station next to the road that, I don't know what it does, it's somehow associated with the pipeline. And it started smelling. And, over weeks, it was sort of like sometimes a little smell, sometimes worse. There got to be a point where it smelled one day quite a lot, and I became pretty concerned. So I called the 1-800 number on the pipeline that said, if there's a leak or an emergency, call this number. It was a Saturday, I believe. Nobody answered the phone. There was not even, like if I call like the emergency vet, there'll be somebody who'll call you back or something. Nobody was there to respond to it. Eventually I called the fire department, and they came out and they checked it. And I think a few days later I did get a call back with someone who reassured me that, it's fine to smell gas leaks. That was not really reassuring to me. The other thing that it caused was, like, where it went under my road, Ashton Park Drive, it made a rise in the road almost as large as a moderate speed bump. And, they also assured me that was perfectly fine and reasonable. There's nothing to be concerned of here. They did eventually update that little pumping or station, whatever it is, and They dug under the road, they fixed the pipe that didn't need to be fixed. And, you know, it didn't give me a lot of reassurance that they were really worried about safety, because they were barely there to respond. Over the next few weeks before they did that repair, multiple people called the fire department because, you know, they'd walk by and they'd smell a lot of gas, and I'd see the fire department out there checking it out again. So I don't have a lot of trust for this organization. Some people here have done fantastic jobs researching this. I thank them. I also thank you. This has got to be a thankless job representing people a lot of the time, but I really want to stand in opposition to this and hope you hear the tally of people opposed and for this and all of the great arguments. Thank you.
Thank you. One last call. All right, I'll close that section. We're going to turn over to the town manager report. Mr. Bruce.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few items from my report tonight. The first is consideration and approval of several appointments to boards and committees. Appointment of Patrick Fiorentino as a full member of the Board of Adjustment, Craig Rosenfeld as a full member of the Planning and Zoning Board, Holly Stewart as a full member of the Finance Committee, and Todd Dean as an alternate on the Finance Committee.
All right, is there a motion to reapprove these appointments? Make these appointments, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I would ask that we approve all of those in one vote.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Aye.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Secondly, a slate of reappointments, and that includes Stuart Meese as a full member of the Finance Committee, Edie Bryant as a full member of the Finance Committee, Danielle Walraven as an alternate on the Finance Committee, and Debbie Schoenfeld as a full member of the Historic Preservation Commission.
Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, the same way, in the interest of time, I suggest we vote on all of those at the same time.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Nay. I'm sorry.
Nay.
No. So it's 3-2. Okay, thank you.
Secondly, I'd like to provide an update to council on the water tower project. We had a great groundbreaking on January the 23rd. Good participation from council. Representative John Blust was there, and a host of citizens to mark the occasion of breaking ground for the water tower, which will be located behind Town Hall. While you haven't seen ground physically being broken, the Caldwell Tanks is in the process of fabricating the material and will begin deep foundation work sometime in the middle of March. We do have an updated schedule, and I will keep council apprised of any changes to that. We do expect that mostly during the summer months, we will be, there probably won't be a lot of activity as fabrication will continue. But in the month of August and September, they will be erecting the steel tank, and we hope to have final completion according to their schedule and according to the contract by January the 31st of 2026. So it'll be about a year process to construct the tank. And in the meantime, we'll be finalizing the water main project and hopefully bidding that project out in the summertime and have both projects advancing at the same time. And I do have one other item of other business, and that is just to announce that the Town Council will be holding a special called meeting on February the 12th at 10 o'clock a.m., and that's for the purpose of the annual Capital Improvement Planning Workshop. The meeting will be held in the conference room, and of course, the public is invited to attend.
We're also going to discuss horse show donation.
Thank you for reminding me. It wasn't on the agenda, and as also under any other business, council is aware that you received an email several days ago from Assistant Town Manager Sandra Smith with a request from the Oak Ridge Horse Show for the town to sponsor that event at the amount of $300. I understand there was interest on council in discussing this, and so I turn the floor over to council.
All right, like I said, if anyone has some input they'd like to have on that, floor is yours. Mr. Greason?
No comments.
Mr. Stone?
In the military, there's a term when civilians falsely claim military service or military honors. It's called stolen valor. In everyday life, we just call it fraud or a stolen heritage. The Stokesdale Oak Ridge Horse Show Association is a perfect example of this. The Oak Ridge Horse Show started in 1948. Oak Ridge citizens started a horse show as a way to raise money for Oak Ridge Elementary School. The Oak Ridge Community Center, which is an organization, not a location or a facility, was formed for that purpose. For 51 years, the Oak Ridge Horse Show at Easter generated money for Oak Ridge organizations, including Oak Ridge Elementary School. The event ceased in 2013, although the Oak Ridge Community Center was still in existence under the new leadership of the board members, Patty Pasleroux, Rita Lewandowski, and Alexandra Gill. Doug Nodine and myself helped on the board to navigate the organization in hopes of restarting the show. Then comes a new group. Although offers were extended by the Oak Ridge Community Center to work with this new group, they were flatly denied. We wanted to work with them, but sadly, they didn't want our participation. They just wanted the money that Oak Ridge Community Center had generated over the years. Sadly, the community center learned that back in the good old days, integrity and honor meant something, and it never felt like the need to have to register the name Oak Ridge Horse Show or Oak Ridge Horse Show Association. It wasn't copyrighted. So when faced with attorney's fees to fight what would be a losing battle, the Oak Ridge Community Center wisely decided to take the money that they had and disperse it to the Oak Ridge Fire Department and to Oak Ridge Elementary School, and a large portion of it to Bandera Farms for their equestrian facilities that are going to be built. So an outside group took the name, started the Oak Ridge Horse Show in Summerfield. Let me say that again. They started the Oak Ridge Horse Show in Summerfield. Then, 4 years later, they moved the Oak Ridge Horse Show to Stokesdale. Stokesdale. The kicker in all this is the Not in Oak Ridge Horse Show isn't even planning to raise money to support any nonprofit in Oak Ridge. They're raising money, but they're not going to use any of that money in Oak Ridge. Yet they have the audacity to ask the town of Oak Ridge to take taxpayers' money and give to them. There are still folks that live in this town, the Anders, the Linvilles, the Benbows, the Browns, and the Peoples, and more, that built the reputation of the Oak Ridge Horse Show. And this faux organization is now claiming that heritage. I would urge that if there's anybody on the council that might want to support this organization, put your money where your mouth is and support it with your funds, but not with Oak Ridge residents' taxpayers' money. It would be insulting and appalling to the people that work so hard on this to give that money to an outside organization that may be absolutely legitimate and well-meaning in raising money, but it's not raising money for Oak Ridge, and we're supposed to be taking care of Oak Ridge and Oak Ridge taxpayers and their money. So I would urge everyone to give serious consideration to the history and the heritage. We talk a lot about our historic roots and our heritage. Use that thought process when we start thinking about how we spend our taxpayers' money in a venture like this. Thank you.
Any other comments? Mr. Harton?
Mr. Mayor, I first came to Oak Ridge in 1977, 78. When I arrived, this was a tobacco community with a crossroads that had a military school. It also had the old mill of Guilford. It had the elementary school, which will celebrate its 100th anniversary, I think, in just a few weeks. It also had the Oak Ridge Easter Horse Show, which was a very big deal. Essentially, it stretched along 150 in what today you know as the Oak Ridge Plantation, going all the way down to the Jesse Benbow House. Today, of course, agricultural farming, particularly tobacco, has disappeared. We still have pride in our agricultural past, but we haven't really done a lot to capture its history, and certainly haven't done as good a job as Kernersville has at their town museum. We are fortunate in the lobby to have a wonderful painting by Roy Nydorf, which I think is a scene from the Blaylock Farm down 150. Certainly the horse show, and I knew nothing about what Mr. Stone just talked about because I was away from 1980 to 2016, but in and out of the community during that time. But certainly the horse show exists, even though it's a shell of itself and maybe under some misrepresentation. Thankfully, the elementary school is vibrant and Orma is doing well, but the mill is for sale. I think the ask by these people, at least is a recognition and a nod to our history. I don't know about the perception of theft over what Mr. Stone's talking about, but I think for the ask to support at least our heritage activities is reasonable.
Ms. Schneider, you have anything to add?
Yeah, just a couple short comments. We don't do a lot of supporting of events. And last year we did support the horse show. It's a good event. It's a good organization from everything I know. It does have a welcome nod to our Oak Ridge history, and to my knowledge, they haven't been able to find a location in Oak Ridge to hold this event. But with all that being said, Mr. Stone is right that they're not supporting organizations based in Oak Ridge, and I haven't looked at the list. There may be nonprofits that they're supporting that benefit Oak Ridge, but in my mind, we don't want to do a lot of these sorts of, usually this doesn't come to the council meeting level, so I apologize for speaking at length on this. I said I wouldn't, but at the same time, we were asked by Oak Ridge Elementary this year to make a similar donation in support of their 100th anniversary. And in my view, we shouldn't be doing a lot of this, but one donation a year is plenty. And I think that's, this year, a more special way to spend this $300. Thank you.
I came here in 2000, so I don't know all the history of the horse show. When I first came here, it was still being held in Oak Ridge, so I was able to experience it firsthand in Oak Ridge. I know the various organizations have tried to keep it alive, and one of the challenges is finding a location for it. So the fact that it's not in Oak Ridge, from what I understand, isn't for lack of trying to find a location in Oak Ridge. I sometimes struggle when the argument for not doing something is because it doesn't have a direct impact in Oak Ridge. Let me tell you a little story. When I first moved here, the sheriff's department was just starting to put cameras in their cars. And at that time, the sheriff was looking for donations. And they came to Oak Ridge and they said, hey, would you make a donation to put a camera in the car that's typically in your area? Well, one of the concerns from the residents was, what happens when the car's not in Oak Ridge? Do you take the camera out and leave it? And it just struck me as that people were concerned that someone else may benefit from something that we did. So I put this in the same category. Maybe they don't directly contribute to organizations in our town, but it benefits the area. And that's why I don't have a problem with making a $300 donation to the Oak Ridge Horse Show. I don't know, I can't completely read whether or not we have enough votes up here or not, but I don't have a problem with it. So that's what I have to say. Any other comments before?
I would like to say.
Yes, Mr. Griesel.
I fully support the elementary school. I'm not going to give taxpayer money going to another town to support something that they're not we're not getting anything back from, so I'll be voting against the horse show contribution, but for the elementary school.
All right, is there any other comments?
Well, I just want to thank you for raising that point. It sort of goes to my point, except better stated, that some of these nonprofits and the event as a whole benefit our community, even if it isn't directly. And I think that's a great point. I do want to, on the one hand, be very mindful of taxpayer money. On the other hand, this is a small request, so I will support it.
Okay, is there, go ahead.
So it is a small amount, but I would hazard to guess that if Burlington had a similar request, or Greensboro had a similar request, is it locality, or is it the fact that they're using the name Oak Ridge Horse Show Association? If it was the Stokesdale Horse Show, I wouldn't have spoken on this thing. The issue isn't that they're not a legitimate organization, that they're not trying to do good things. I don't know. What I do know is they are not Oak Ridge. And that's really where we should be focused on. That's what we were elected for. I get it, it's $300, but I go back to put your money where your mouth is and put your $300 up and leave the taxpayers alone. I will not be voting for this.
Okay. Is there a motion to, for or against this item?
I'll make a motion that we did not approve the donation to the Oak Ridge Horse Show.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay.
Nay.
So that motion fails. Is there a motion to maybe approve it? If we don't make a motion, even though the motion failed, we won't be appointing it.
I'll make a motion that we approve the $300 to the Oak Ridge Horse Show.
Is there a second? Any additional discussion?
Well, there's election in a couple years, so I hope you remember these people who are giving your money away to a different town. So.
Not in a couple years, it's in several months.
And I perfectly encourage you to keep all our decisions in mind. There's no discussion from the audience right now. All right. I do not shy away from my decisions at all, so please keep all my decisions in mind next fall if I choose to rerun. So I do not fear that, and I don't see it as a threat. I just see it as that's the way life is. You should judge us all by all our decisions, so I have no fear from that. With that said, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. All right, 3-2 passes. We approve the $300 donation. Thank you. You're going to stand in for the monthly financial report?
I'm going to do my best to provide the report. I'm quite certain I won't be as entertaining as Sam.
You're going to be as witty as him?
No, especially when it comes to accounting matters.
All right, go for it.
Financial report is in your packets. I'll briefly summarize the activity update. We will receive ACH wire transfer remitting property taxes of $83,155 from January, and motor vehicle taxes of $10,657 from the Guilford County Tax Department for a total of $93,000. We received our monthly sales tax and property tax disbursement. Also received interest for January, tap fees and water usage fees from the Water Enterprise Fund, ABC revenue sharing that was reported by Mr. Barbary earlier, and various facility rental and donations to the second phase of the Veterans Honor Green. As per usual, the finance officer is monitoring our investments at our depository banks. He's always on the lookout for the best yields. And they continue to support this staff with all of the grant compliance work that we have to do through the various federal and state grants that we've received. I'll also note, letter G, that bond increases are underway and will be completed by tomorrow. Council received a resolution that the finance officer is requesting by email earlier today, and that was added to your packets this afternoon. This is a resolution that updates the fidelity bond requirement for the finance officer and the 2 assistant finance officers, which in our role as manager and assistant manager, Sandra and myself fulfill. The annual bond, the fidelity bond, is set as a percentage of our overall budget, and in the past, we have set that rate based on our annual operating budget. Guidance from the auditor and from the state indicated that even the large capital projects that were financed through ARPA or were funded through ARPA should be added to the calculation when we use to calculate that bond requirement. So we are upping the bond from $200,000 to $500,000. At the end of the day, that's only about $750 in added premium. So it's a pretty low impact on our budget, but it gives obviously it gives us the town much more protection, and it satisfies the requirement of the LGC. So I'm asking for approval of Sam's financial report and also an approval of the resolution updating the fidelity bond.
Do you need them as separate motions?
That would probably be.
All right, first, let's do the easy one. Is there a motion to accept the finance officer's report?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Now, is there a motion to approve the resolution R 2025-01, a resolution updating the fidelity bond requirement?
Mr. Mayor, I make a resolution to approve the updating of the fidelity bond requirement as stated by Mr. Bruce to $500,000. That's resolution R 225-01.
Was there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, and this is more for our town manager. You do a great job. Staff does a great job. I've asked this before, could we please get information like this a few days in advance?
We continually strive to do that, and sometimes things just come last minute through situations that sometimes are out of our control. We're always mindful of that. I apologize this came so late.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. All right. Anything else?
No.
All right. Committee reports. Planning and zoning.
Patty Pasleru, 8543 Linville Road, Oak Ridge, North Carolina. I'll do planning and zoning and the Board of Adjustment since we're
thank you.
together now.
Yes.
We did our training, our first training on the Board of Adjustment, and we elected myself as chair, and we were waiting till Patrick became, we want to nominate Patrick as co-chair, so we had to wait until you approved him as a member to the board. We elected Jason as the chair again for the planning and zoning, and myself as co-chair, so that we didn't have any other business this month.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your appointment.
Mountain to the Sea Trail? Mountain to Sea? We have anything for them?
They did not meet.
Conservation easement? I don't think they met either, did they?
They did meet, but it was simply discussion on pending projects, no decisions.
Okay. Special events?
Oh, hang on. No one could come today because of the chair
I
is.
thought you were going to pull Patty out of your purse.
Yeah, Patty's in, that's funny. Patty's in New Jersey, and Barb was supposed to come today, but because of the funeral today, and there's one thing they asked me to say, they have been asked by the local DAR to help coordinate a Flag Day celebration on June 14th of this year at the Veterans Honor Grain, and it's also the 250th anniversary of the Army that will also be honored, and more information, of course, will be forthcoming on the town's website.
Thank you. Tree Board? I know they met, but, okay. Parks and Rec?
Good evening, Adrian Eckernod, 5679 Timber Trace Way in Oak Ridge. The Parks and Rec met on January 16th in person and on Zoom. We voted on and appointed a chair and co-chair, myself and John Browning. This spring, we'll see the start of some projects that we approved last year. such as the MST campsite project, an Eagle Scout project, and a new memorial garden that will be upcoming. We discussed and voted on the new capital improvement projects to provide our recommendations to Town Council. We also discussed and voted on a property rental agreement management for 8326 Linville Road. Heritage Farm Park work is almost completed with their punch list items. Weather had caused some of the delays that we experienced there. The Veterans Honor Green, Phase 1 is now completed. Phase 2 is waiting on bids for the pathway through the pines. Union Cemetery cleanup was performed as well by park staff, and this will now be added into a routine maintenance schedule to keep it ongoing. Discussion was had on some issues that was brought to our attention with some off-leash dogs in the park. So Brock and his staff are working to try and keep that. It's already signs and notes up, but there's been some issues with that as well. The Farmhouse Community Center work should be moving to a punch list items in February. We're looking for a targeting May for our first rentals from the public. And we're also looking to start a new Farmhouse Community Music Series in July at the center, that would, of course, be for consideration in next year's budget. And finally, wrapping up the Music in the Park series, we are still looking for a band for July, but we did secure the second other band. Thank you.
Thank you.
Finance Committee hasn't met yet, but we'll be starting up shortly in February, or no, March?
Their first meeting will be the first Monday in March, which is March the 3rd.
All right, it is open. They do a top-to-bottom review of our budget, so don't hesitate to attend and ask questions. Water Advisory Committee?
Water Advisory Committee did not meet.
Okay. Just the Brown Grading, yes. Historic Preservation?
Didn't meet.
Okay. We now have a second session of public comments. You can, 3 minutes, state your name and address. Try not to repeat yourself if you spoke earlier. Patty?
Whoa. Patty Patheru, 8543 Linville Road. I'd like to speak about the Oak Ridge Horse Show. As I was the past president of the old Oak Ridge Horse Show, I'd like you guys to ask yourself a question. They've now been in business for 3 years since I left, since they started the new horse show. Where have they been donating the money to? Those horse shows make a lot of money. We donated to Bandera Farms $35,000 from the Oak Ridge Horse Show. I donated to the fire station $2,500 for training and things. So where has all their money been going to? What have they been donating to in the 3 years that they've been running their so-called Oak Ridge Horse Show? I don't see any benefit to the community that they've published or publicized of where that money's going. That's part of the reason we couldn't come to agreements on keeping it going. So ask yourself, where is all that money going? Because the horse show does make money. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Right behind Bob there.
Hi, I'm Shelby Taylor. I live at 2805 Norwell Court. And this is in relation to the horse show. I am new to the board on the
Stand near
horse
the microphone,
show.
please.
New to the board, and we do donate to our committee. If you go to our website, there's a list of some of the local places that we've donated to. This year, we have set up a scholarship for the high school students, which we've awarded 2 of the students a $1,000 scholarship for those who are going into some kind of animal science. We've donated to the fire departments. We did not donate to the school this year, that is true, but we do keep the money in the community. This is the first year, or last year was the first year, we donated to Make-A-Wish Foundation. So the way the organization kind of looks at things, we try to keep it within the community, but we're also now trying to branch out to reach other organizations as well. And so I just wanted to share that with you all. And that, again, if you want to see where we're donated, it's listed on the website. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you tell us what website, what is your website? Instead of the website, tell us what the website is.
Oak Ridge Horse Show Association.com.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask a question.
Hold on. This
Teresa
actually-
Willendorf,
Actually, we don't have it, this isn't public discussion. It's public comment. We have our own section where we can comment. Your name and address, please.
Teresa Wellendorf, 7910 Pate Drive, also in Oak Ridge. And I'm also part of the horse show, and I just wanted to say that we have donated. And the only reason that we are not in Oak Ridge is because there is no venue here. That's why we had to move to other places. But we do try to think of the community as a whole. And as Shelby mentioned, this year we were proud to be able to donate award 2 scholarships to Northwest students. And, we have given every year that we have been in having the event, we have donated to the community, not necessarily all in Oak Ridge, but throughout our neighboring communities. And our donations have been listed in the Northwest Observer and also on the website. So, you can certainly check that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? Claire?
Again, do I need to state my address and
Please.
stuff? Okay. Claire Spear, 2410 Timber Oak Drive in Hillsborough. So as we close tonight, I'd like to just take some time to emphasize the importance of this resolution of opposition to SSEP that your constituents have been asking you for. You've been hearing about this pipeline project for a few months now. Community members have been emailing you, sharing their concerns, asking to set up meetings, and some spoke to you here at the December town council meeting as well. And the First Baptist Church, which is well within the blast zone, has recently taken an official stance against the project. As people in Oak Ridge learn about this project, many feel strongly that this new pipeline is not something they want to see in their community. And they want you, their elected leaders, to be standing with them in their opposition. Some have expressed discouragement after hearing various responses saying that it's not within your purview. We know that this council alone cannot stop this pipeline project. That's not what this community is asking for. They're coming to you with a very specific request, one that is within your purview, to pass a resolution of opposition against the Southeast Supply Expansion Project. And I want to emphasize that this action is far from just symbolic. Rather, it is one that has been proven to have a ripple effect of influence. This can happen in a few ways. First, when the elected leaders of a directly impacted community take an official stance against a pipeline project, that act creates cover for state elected officials to take steps to block the project. You heard earlier about the Alamance County resolution and how that had effect. Well, also, after they passed that resolution, the North Carolina governor had concrete cover to act against the project. And as a result, the company pulled out of Alamance County entirely. So if Josh Stein doesn't have evidence from local leaders that the communities impacted by the pipeline are opposed, he won't have that cover to take action. That's one reason why your voice and this particular action is so important. Second, local and state resolutions have been instrumental tools in stopping other pipeline projects. In the Northeast, a similar expansion project from Transco was abandoned after local and state elected officials passed resolutions of opposition, and they also spoke publicly against the project. Now, the federal agency had already approved this pipeline, but that didn't matter. Local and state level elected officials did their own research and saw that Transco's claims of need were false, and what they did about it made a difference. Third and last, if Transco knows that you're skeptical of the project, they're going to have to be on their best behavior with you. This action creates a call for accountability and responsibility. If Transco thinks that they're being welcomed in with open arms, that accountability is much more likely to just fly out the window. I urge you to please listen to the safety and health concerns that your community has been bringing to you and leverage the power that you do have to hold Transco accountable. These are your beloved constituents. Please consider taking action. Thank you again for listening tonight.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, ma'am.
I don't want to speak anymore. Brenda Janey, Dwayne Janey, 58 Ellen Billet. I'm going to leave these two. These are identical, just got tired of printing stuff. This is like the first 20 years of, this is Williams Transco only. There is multiple incidences for all the pipelines. I started by just pulling off like the first 20 years of explosions, fatalities, leaks. 98% of the time, the leak is never found by the Transco people. It's found by the neighbors who tell them. So in your spare time, which you probably have as much as I do, someone look at these and find out that Appomattox, Virginia was just not a one drop in the bucket. It's a common incident. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak?
Thank you.
With that, I'll close the public comment session. We are not going to have our closed session, so we move to council comments. Mr. Greason.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, I don't talk a lot, but I'm not for spending taxpayer money for donations to another group that's not in Oak Ridge or has no desire or nothing contributed. I'm just sit here and look at their 24 proceeds that they Make-A-Wish Foundation, which is great. Stokesdale Fire Department, Summerfield Fire Department, Bethany Fire Department. There's nothing to Oak Ridge. So I just hope y'all remember it in the election.
Mr. Stone.
Yeah. Not going to beat a dead horse. Anyway. So Brenda knows I'll talk with anybody about the pipeline. We've had conversations and everything, and I'm here to listen and here to talk. I understand the concerns, and I think that everybody understands the abilities of local government, the abilities of local elected officials. There's not an ordinance or there's not a law, there's not a zoning thing that we could do to alter a federal project, okay? So I'll just leave it at that. Again, I'll talk with anybody. If you have questions or concerns, or you think that I have information that I'm not sharing with you, or any of us are, we're all available, okay? So please don't think because of the non-response up here that we're not listening. I would dare say that we're listening quite a bit, okay? Thank you.
Mr. Harton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to commend Bob Yarborough. 1:30 at the Methodist Church, the gentleman runs probably the best bloodmobile program I've seen. And before I moved back to Oak Ridge, I was on the board of the Red Cross in New Jersey, and this gentleman's program is better than anything I've seen. So Monday at 1:30, if you're not already scheduled, pick the open times in between 1:30 and 6:30. Two, for sure, some of us have had a very long day, and I ask that you keep David Schoenfeld's family in mind. Typically, we have a report from Debbie that happily was approved to continue in her role with HBC, but not here tonight because of a very heavy day for them. So keep the Schoenfelds in mind. I'd like to thank everybody for coming and expressing their opinion. What Mr. Stone said, yeah, we listen, we try to understand the issues thoroughly, and whether that's horse show or the issues of the pipeline, we are here to listen, but also to make the best decisions possible. I thank you for coming, and I'll stop my comments there.
Ms. Schneider.
Yes, thanks to each of you, everyone who's spoken. I know it takes time to come here and speak to us, and we're very grateful for that. So thank you. And thank you for mentioning Debbie and her family. Debbie has served on the HPC since 2009. She's its current chair. She has been an incredibly devoted public servant. And I was shocked that she was one of 4 people on the day that her husband was buried, that 2 council members voted against her reappointment. I find that shocking. I find it shocking that the council members didn't mention the reason. I know the reason. It's about personal animus. It's not about the good that Debbie and these other people who were reappointed to our committees do for the town. And I want to say that I think it's important that when we consider volunteer applications, that we consider them based on what they can do for our community, not whether they're outspoken on issues outside the purview of that committee, whether they voted for us or not, whether they opposed us or not. That's not our job up here, just as our job is also to make tricky little tiny decisions like about this horse show thing. I was surprised at the venom that came out about this, and I thank you both for speaking up, because I've been to the event, I think twice, and it was a wonderful event. I hope you'll consider, maybe even this year, donating to something, even a small amount, like the Veterans Honor Green, where we're trying to raise money for Phase 2, which actually isn't out to bid yet, I don't think, because they're still finishing the revisions to the construction documents. So Phase 2, the project wasn't envisioned as 2 phases, but we divided it that way because the costs, like everything else, skyrocketed. So what is now Phase 2 is the boardwalk into the Pines that was always envisioned as an integral part of the project to provide a reflective area. And thank you again. I guess that's it. Sorry, it has been a long day. Thank you so much.
As always, I can't encourage you enough. If you're able to donate blood, please do. Like I said, as Mr. Harton pointed out, Bob runs an excellent program. The reason why I always emphasize his program is it runs every 2 months. It's on the second Monday of every even month. So when that blood drive occurs, you know it's been long enough that you can donate again, because you're supposed to wait 8 weeks before you can donate. He always has great treats. We also have a raffle where they give away $50 gift cards. There's 4 of them, there. So if you're able to donate, it's an amazing thing. Unfortunately, I'm not able to donate anymore, so I appreciate people like Mr. Harton, and my wife has stepped up and she started donating too. So if you are able to donate, please do. If you know someone that can donate, please encourage them to. It's a pretty painless process nowadays. They have really sharp needles, and they have people that really know what they're doing. I will be attending the Mayor's Association meeting next week, and I'll give a full report to council when I return. I would argue that a scholarship to Northwest High School constitutes an Oak Ridge a donation. The Oak Ridge Lions Club, we give a scholarship to a resident of the Northwest High Schools district, which means the student can be from anywhere, from homeschooled to, and actually that district covers parts of Greensboro. So even though we're called the Oak Ridge Lions Club, we do give a scholarship many times to a student that doesn't live in Oak Ridge, but we still call ourselves the Oak Ridge Lions Club because Northwest High School is pretty much the closest high school we have. So I think that covers doing something for Oak Ridge. I think we also need to support the neighboring towns. So the fact that they have give donations to the Stokesdale Fire Department and other fire departments in the area, that's something we should encourage. And I do hope that they will circle around to us from time to time. I understand they need to pick and choose sometimes what they're doing there. So I think it's important also to get our name out there to show that we're supporting events like this. So I think that's a good thing. I'm trying to think anything else I'd like to. As far as the pipeline goes, I guess the thing that we need to start thinking about up here is we do represent the citizens of Oak Ridge. And I guess the question is, at what point does the voice that we hear from the Oak Ridge residents is loud enough that we need to say, pass that voice along? Yes, they went to the county commissioners tonight and they spoke as seen, but they still are seen as individuals when they're. But as a council, we can put a little bit more weight behind that. So the question is, at what point have enough citizens approached us and said, we don't approve of this, that we need to get together as a council and say, yes, we will come together with a resolution. For me, it's getting pretty darn close to where I've heard from enough different residents that we should give serious consideration to having a resolution that opposes the pipeline. I have not discussed this, purposely have not discussed this with the rest of council. I've kept my counsel to myself, but I have attended all the meetings. But I would encourage you to continue speaking out, reach out to residents and have their voice. I haven't heard too many people come up and say, hey, this is no big deal. I've heard mostly from people that said this is a problem. So I think at some point we need to at least have the discussion about, have we heard enough that we should consider a resolution? And that's just what I'm putting out there. With that,
Mr. Mayor.
yes, Mr. Stone.
I'd like to address a comment that was made and directed towards this end of the dais, please. Volunteer appointments in the town of Oak Ridge have always been political decisions. I know from personal experience that they're political decisions because 2 members of this town council in the past have made sure that it was political decisions. We receive magazines, it's called Liberty, but just oddly enough, the quote in the Liberty magazine article, if you're not fully 100% on board with everything I believe on a certain issue or ideology, then you're suddenly the enemy. What a shame, you know? We're not the enemy. We might disagree, but don't treat me like the enemy. Have a good evening, folks.
With that, is there a motion for adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.